Reddit is one of the largest online communities in the world, a place where millions of people gather to joke, argue, share experiences, and sometimes reach out during moments when they feel completely alone. In 2019, an account with the name Worthless319 began posting, and almost immediately, the tone of those posts stood out. The username itself was heavy, but the content was even more unsettling. His posts were direct and emotionally raw, written by someone who seemed deeply convinced that they had no value and no place in the world. At first, he posted a totally normal post titled, "Does North Korean leadership know what an eclipse is? Might they consider it an attack from the US?" But right after that, he makes a disturbing post. Fear of suffering / bringing an awareness into suffering. The innate truths behind the universe have been revealed to me. I have severely self-mutilated to near death in the past, and I was awful at dealing with the pain. I couldn't remotely bring a non-judgmental awareness into it. Sitting on the edge of eternity, I see pure suffering, as awful as it gets once my life is over. It is my path to enlightenment, no different from Christ's. But I'm scared. I can't function anymore. I am so afraid of what comes after for me. Saying me is an odd thing though. Then he makes a post saying, "Pain is given by God," followed by another disturbing post. "How to proceed when you only seem to fail." I'm in the most intense part of the awakening process that is possible. First, I circumcised myself, ended up at the ER. Next, I shot my part 4 times with a revolver and consumed it after cooking it slightly on a frying pan. I called an ambulance on myself after freaking out and ended up at the ER. During that process, I blew apart my left testicle and they removed it since it was beyond repair. Finally, after many months of agonizing depression, I got the courage to sever my remaining testicle, ending up at the ER again. All I have done is follow God's will to crucify myself. But I always seem to fail. I cannot, for the love of God, make it past the obstacles given to me. Now God has come to me through my intuition, calling me to sever more of my part. When I look at what's left, it's about 1 centimetre worth of skin, bulging out with an empty scrotum attached. And it's baffling that I am supposed to sever more of it. At this point, I'm basically carving a hole into my body. Please, I am in the darkest times of my life, as Earth nears the end times war, and I have no idea what to do or where to turn. I am so afraid of the pain and blood of doing this all over again, thinking once would be enough. Love and regards, Worthless319. To enforce what the OP is saying is true, he says if there are any doubts, I can email pictures freely. Then, how long does local anesthesia last? Lidocaine. I hope I am wrong, but from what we can see, OP is trying to buy local anesthesia to sever his part and atone to God, which he believes is the right thing to do. Again, I hope I am wrong. But with this, it's clear that OP has some kind of mental health issue. OP regularly posts other depressing posts after that. How to surpass feelings of inadequacy or self-hate. The increasing chaos reflects my failure to awaken. Purpose. I'm often negative, given my psychotic tendencies and self-hatred. But sometimes there's a glimmer of hope inside my heart. Even with all the darkness I've experienced, if any universe could exist, that is, if I could create a universe, why wouldn't it be one that always has your back? Why wouldn't it be one that always has your best interest? It may hurt at times, and suffering comes in many flavors, but those flavors have a purpose. Suffering is the megaphone of the universe, screaming at you that you exist, that you are. Everything is referential in duality. To experience the light, we need the darkness, otherwise we would be robotic, non-existent entities. This is hard to accept deep inside, as dualistic beings, and my longest personal gap to enlightenment. Yes, there is no I, but that acceptance doesn't come until you cross the gap. I am that I am. We are all awareness, non-judgmental, loving awareness. The masks of God. It's a miracle, truly. It's hard to get my mind right in this noisy, chaotic world, but here I am, still fighting. I may not be the best person, but I try to stand up every time I fall, and will until my moment of death. I wish you all the best, internet family, whom I turn to when I have no one else. I love you. At this point in time, OP still had some hope left in him. There were other people supporting him, offering to help, offering encouragement, personal stories and advice, ranging from therapy to small lifestyle changes that had helped them through similar feelings. However, Worthless 319 responded with replies that carried a tone that unsettled many readers. No matter what suggestions were offered, the answers always circled back to the same conclusion: that nothing would work, that help was pointless, and that they were beyond saving. It wasn't written with anger or hostility, and it didn't come across as someone seeking attention. Instead, it felt like resignation, as if the user had already accepted an ending they believed was inevitable. As time went on, the posts continued in much the same way, but the sense of concern among readers grew stronger. Worthless 319 spoke about being tired of existing, about wanting everything to stop, and about feeling like a burden simply for being alive. I feel like I'm drowning in an ocean. I try to swim and I sink. I don't try to swim and I sink further. I've heard it all. Every religion, every school of thought, the best speakers, hidden universal truths and archetypes have been revealed through deep insight, and I've acquired a lot of knowledge through experiences which are deemed the most important. I especially fear the end of humanity as it approaches. It's inches away, centimeters. No one understands me, especially myself. I don't know who I am any longer. I'm so close to the point of complete surrender that it appears infinitely far away, and I keep grasping. I've gone insane. I have a limitless amount of love built up inside of my limited consciousness, with no one and no thing to share it with anymore. Maybe that's why God needs me to share it with it. Really, all I have left to say at this point is, what the fuck? People began urging them more urgently to seek help offline, to contact someone they trusted, or to reach out to professionals who could offer real support. To which OP makes an edit. Saw my psychologist a few days ago. Useless as always. Then came the post, the final stand. I need to thank everyone for support, opinions, understanding, advice, conflicting ideas, compatible ideas, and everything in between. I believe I am on the path to my final metamorphosis. From being done with my caterpillarness to becoming a full-blown butterfly. It's scary, and I know it is going to hurt quite a bit. Such are the birth pangs of a renewed world. I wish for everyone's positivity and thoughts on my final journey. I love you all. By this point, it seems like OP had already made up his mind of self-harm. The posts that followed this were something that looked like the planning of Sudoku. How much would it hurt to Sudoku have own self-mutilate cut off a failing god? And the last post from the account is a picture of his dog. After that, the account went silent. There was no final message, no explanation, and no sign that the posts had reached any kind of resolution. Days passed, then weeks, months, and eventually years, with no activity from the account at all. People continued to check the profile, hoping to see even the smallest sign of life, a comment, an edit, anything that suggested the person behind the username was still there. Nothing ever appeared. Eventually new threads began to surface, all asking the same uneasy question. What happened to Worthless 319? Some believed the account had simply been abandoned, as so many are every day. Others pointed out how consistent the despair had been and how abrupt the silence felt, arguing that it didn't seem like someone who had simply moved on, but rather someone who offed himself, leaving only his dog behind. There was no confirmation either way, and that uncertainty became the most disturbing part of the story. Unlike most internet mysteries, there is no hidden twist, no secret second account, and no later revelation that neatly explains everything. There is only the possibility that thousands of strangers may have watched someone fade away in real time, powerless to do anything more than type words on the screen. The account remains inactive to this day, frozen in time as a quiet reminder of how easily real pain can be hidden behind anonymity. Whether Worthless 319 survived or not is something no one can say for certain.